Hello, Namaskar, and welcome to Talking Point Blank. Now, on today's special podcast, I have a very special guest with me, somebody who is a keen watcher of Indo Canada relations and is a very eminent journalist who has been tracking also a lot on the Khalistan front. Daniel Broadbent, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for taking your time for me.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So, Daniel, I'm going to come straight to the point. Justin Trudeau literally destroyed the Indo-Canadian relations, right? Why do you see he did that? One. Two is he really pandered to the Khalistanis. But despite destroying Indian relations and pandering to the Khalistanis, he could not stay in power. So how do you see the Indo-Canadian relations, what he destroyed, and where do you see them going now?
Well, good question. One, never let it said that Justin Trudeau didn't accomplish anything. He did accomplish this. Two, don't undermine Jagmeet Singh. He also helped destroy relations. So the play, people, I think, misinterpret Justin Trudeau and think he's playing chess or what's he doing or this for money or whatever. Like, credit where credit is due. He's a true ideologue. He truly believed he was the sort of woke messiah, right? The, great leader of people kind, actual Justin Trudeau phrase. So his support for Khalistan has always been there because, one, there were Khalistanis in his caucus, right? He had, the Harjit Sajid's, Navdeep Bains, all the sort of Khalistani believers were caucus members and cabinet ministers from the get-go. So he always had that in the Liberal Party. And then he was very unpopular, so he had to have a minority government. And his minority was then propped up at the end by Jagmeet Singh's NDP party, who Jagmeet was a ideological Khalistani. So in order to maintain the last 4 years of power, this was one of his sort of bargains to be a power broker or to maintain the prime ministership and whatever, because as long as Jagmeet was getting what he wanted, which was a global war against India, he's not going to change the prime ministership. He doesn't really care about healthcare or dental care or any of that. It was Khalistan's Indabad. So why did he do it? The Khalistani narrative appeals more to Justin Trudeau than a moderate Sikh. Moderate Sikhs, normal Sikhs, will put on a turban, will go to a Gurdwara, will pray to God. None of that matters to Justin Trudeau. What Justin Trudeau likes is people putting bombs in airplanes and blowing them up. Because, and I mean this seriously, there is a sort of woke moral superiority in inversion. So if you are a moderate Muslim or a moderate Sikh, right? And this is more pronounced on the Muslim divide. If you're a moderate Muslim and you go, hey, I'm just a Muslim, but I'm Canadian. And, I go to the mosque, but I wave the flag and I don't really think I'm here to integrate. Anyone can be this guy's friends. Anyone can support that guy. True. There's no, right? I support him. You support him. He supports him. Everyone supports, Faisal, the normal accountant dude who just goes to a mosque and loves his mom. But when you join ISIS and you rape and kill people, well, my ability to hug the ISIS fighters, and remember, Trudeau did this when he was asked by the Conservatives, why are you allowing convicted ISIS fighters to come to Canada? And he gave the Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. And he even added that these ISIS fighters could be a powerful voice for de-radicalization. So if you get a bit too radical as a Muslim, our government will de-radicalize you with who? ISIS fighters. Talk to ISIS. They'll talk you off the ledge. But to Justin, you think this is more, but when you understand the sort of very pampered son of a prime minister, woke, privileged lifestyle. The crazier the person I can embrace, the more virtuous I am. Mm-hmm. Right? It's a type of narcissism. So I can hug the terrorism away is sort of Justin Trudeau's fundamental belief. So his ability to hug the most radical showed actually his moral superiority to others who, disgusting human beings like me, who say, don't blow up airplanes. They should, in fact, go to jail. People go to blow up airplanes should be in jail. But no, I am a neophyte. I am archaic in my thoughts. He is new. He is progressive. And with his magic hug and his empathy and his magnanimity, he will de-radicalize them now. Now, that is not what happened in practice, but that was the mentality. So when someone has that mentality, right, then it makes sense why they would back a Khalistani over a moderate Sikh, because it's easy to back a moderate Sikh. Everyone backs a moderate Sikh, except But
my question is, Daniel, are these characteristics or traits of his personality something which came out after he became the prime minister, or was it something which he carried all along and people knew about it? And, then the subsequent question is, if he was always the way he was, what prompted Canadians to choose him to power in the first place?
Well, I think he was always the way he was. And I think, right, in the West in 2012, he comes into 2015, right? 2015, Obama is still president. Not like woke wasn't the thing, right? This might have been a time where there was no woke. It was called a social justice activist probably at that time. And people hadn't seen the real downsides of it, right? You started to sort of sense something was in the waters, and that was the Trump reaction of something going on there. But Canadians, right? We loved Obama. Why? Because he looked progressive, sound progressive. Harper had been in for 10 years, right? Oh, we're going to legalize marijuana, right? He gave that good, nice, friendly vibe. And, people like me, were like, okay, he actually does mean sort of global communism and nothing, but people didn't really woke. There was no counter woke. There was that people thought left, right? It thought, the liberals before Stephen Harper, were, sounds more socially conservative and believed in balancing a budget, but just, being a bit friendlier to minorities. That was sort of the thing. So it's like, yeah, we didn't understand that this guy was like actually a lunatic. Even though he said crazy things and he was always this way, people didn't really have an understanding of what the prime minister of people kind really meant at that point. It was just, nice empathy, and all that. So
was it a root shock for the Canadians to see the full face of Justin Trudeau?
To a lot of people, yeah. He eventually alienated everyone, but then they pulled the wool over the eyes. They did the switcheroo. They brought in Mark Carney. As I say, Justin Trudeau was the king of the dimwit, and Mark Carney is the king of the midwit. So all the liberal establishment midwits, the phony, intellectual, swampy, whatever you call them, they love Mark Carney because he's a banker. He puts on a suit. Oh, he's this. He's very smart. Brookfield. But if you look at his economic record, his economic plans are basically like call things green and then get tons of funding from a global government and then invest in third world countries and their infrastructure and destroy your own and then get money from the government. Oh, brilliance. Like if you get tons of money from the government, you make money. Like you can't run an economy like that.
But from being a dimwit to a midwit, where does the Indo-Canadian relationship go from here? So
it can't get any worse. So that's the good news for Indo-Canadian relationship fans, is it can't get worse than the Trudeau-Jagmeet era. The Canadian security agencies have now, instead of whitewashing Khalistan, they now have said Khalistan's an actual threat. They put out threats to the Barba Khalsa and other terrorist organizations fundraising in Canada. Now, the Canadian organizations pointing it out is one thing. Doing something about it is another thing. And again, CSIS, our CIA, doesn't have a domestic mandate. So it falls on the RCMP if they want to take action. So when it's a mess. And people think, why isn't Canada cracking down on Khalistan? Well, we're a country that if a murderer rapist comes and breaks into your house and is shooting a machine gun at your family and you fire back and kill him, the state will prosecute you. The only people we prosecute are self-defense crimes, right? You can commit as many rapes and murders as you want, out on bail the next day to kill again.
So have the laws changed in Canada, or but the law is like that?
No, it's not the law. It's will enforced, right? The Supreme Court became filled with radical leftists. The police unions have been neutered. The unions are filled with radical leftists. Like all the politicians have been infiltrated by neo-communist garbage. And the police, whenever they catch someone, they're out on the street the next day. So it's a bit demoralizing. There's a class of criminals that are just, it's like, catch and release. They're committing all the crimes. We know who it is and we just can't keep them in jail because, again, another Trudeau law was to sort of always give bail, right? Because Canada loves importing American nonsense and then fixing America's bullshit issues in here. So when Bernie Sanders said, we need $15 an hour minimum wage, then Canada was like, we have 15 million. We just did that, right? So when there's like the Black Lives Matter, like bail is racist, anyone, bail is a racist colonial thing, right? Then we're like, we'll abolish bail. Look, right? It's the point of the Liberal Party in Canada is to brag to your American cousins about how much better you are than them. That's how the Canadian establishment governs the country. There's there's a part of your family that lives in America that votes Democrat, and they bemoan, oh, the fascist right-wing America, and we make policies to fix the American problems that they complain about here in Canada that don't exist.
So what is the Liberals doing right in Canada to stay in power still after the, pretty much the fiasco and the debacle?
Soft power, they own the media, they own the narrative, and they're just better at politics. Oh, the Conservatives suck. What I like about the Liberals, they have balls. They'll set the initiative. They'll take the initiative. They'll push the narrative out there. They'll look you in the eye and say, I'm the best because, and they have the media and they have confidence and they go for it.
Mm-hmm.
The Conservatives are always on the back foot, always scared of controversy, always doing a poll and a focus group and a poll to do a focus group. The Conservatives won't even figure out should I take a shower today? I don't know. Let's do a focus group and a poll, see if the focus group says if we should shower or not and actually clean ourselves. If yes, we will. If no, we won't. Give it. So these people, they're always behind. They're always on the back foot, and then they lose because they're losers. They're cowards and losers.
So now what we have seen is a bit of a change, which is like now the Canadian government is recognizing Khalistan as a threat. They have gone ahead and, also said Babar Khalsa is a terrorist organization. So what is prompting this change in from Mark Carney? Is he a bit more like, let's say, the old kind of leftist who knows how to balance between conservatism and leftism? Or
I think he's just smart enough to play all sides. So he'll play the Indian side, he'll play the Khalistani side, he'll play the Muslim Brotherhood side, he'll play the Jews, he'll play everyone. He'll sort of talk to anyone, do whatever. Will he pick India's side over Khalistan? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll pick both and try and, which is again better than Justin Trudeau. And it's on the Indian side. Is that going to be good enough for India? We'll see. So I don't think, if you're just hoping that Mark Carney will do something to counter terrorism by himself, I don't think that will. If he is pressured to do something, and then properly incentivized, he might. But I don't, I don't see him listen, it's better than Trudeau, and at least he's going through the motions. The security agencies are now talking again. So there is thawing. There's a thaw in the relationship, which is good to see. But a complete, overturn, I think we're still more than a few steps away.
And, the Khalistanis have been running a very big criminal enterprise, from human trafficking to drug trafficking to narcos, right? Isn't that a threat to the Canadian national security?
Yeah.
Don't they see it as a threat? And what have they done about, cracking down on these organized crime gangs run by, previously by Niger or by other Khalistanis?
Nothing.
And why is that?
Because they get a cut, because the narco terrorists fund the political parties. Canada is a money laundering safe haven, right? What I hate in Canada is when Canadians complain about Ukraine being a money laundering thing. Oh, so much money laundering in Ukraine. It's like, guys, have some pride, okay? We are way better at money laundering than the Ukrainians ever were, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's an international term called snow washing, okay? We're like, don't give Ukraine any credit. They can't money launder like Canada, okay? Canada is like the international hub of terrorist money laundering. And money laundering through the political parties is a great way to launder money, and then you get a tax receipt for doing it. It's one of Canada's one of the few functioning institutions we've built in Canada and have thrived under Trudeau, is money laundering and automobile theft. We built $1 billion auto theft industry. Khalistanis are involved, but that's mostly Hezbollah.
Okay.
The Khalistanis are just running, they thrive in running logistics for the narco terrorism, right? The cartels and the Chinese bring in the fentanyl. You have the super labs, and the Khalistanis are moving the fentanyl. So, and then a lot of this money is then donated to political organizations and then laundered back through them. So, again, politicians have a hard time saying no to money.
So how do you see the Khalistanis going in Canada? I mean, how is it that Khalistanis have become such a big kind of, I would call them an entity in Canada? Because if you look at the way they have also gone ahead and, declared an embassy of Khalistan. Niger's Gurdwara, they have changed it into an embassy, right? So how do you see this Khalistan movement thriving just into Canada and somewhere in US?
Okay, so one, they've gotten no pushback for 40 years. Okay, no pushback that matters. It's been an Indo Canadian issue let's say the Indo Canadian diaspora does not do a good job of reaching anyone outside of their group.
Okay.
Their media, a lot of their talk is in Hindi or Punjabi. And as I will reiterate, nothing said outside of English matters. If it's not said in English, it does not matter. No one's going to click the subtitles. It doesn't matter. No one cares. I can translate it. I'm into it. And yes, I'll look, but I can make 5 people in the country care if it's not in English. So if you're not speaking English, you do not matter. You don't matter at all to the political discourse. So that's one. So the people that they're fighting are not pushing back effectively against them. So they're gaining ground. 2, they've established a bit of a financial base, somewhat independent from the ISI, somewhat connected. Again, drugs are good business, purely financially. So there's money. And then, they got in with the right people. They work with the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood's very good at political infiltration. They taught them how to do it. They made deals with the Chinese and the CCP. There's, there's regions of Canada that the Khalistanis control politically, like Brampton, right? They control the primaries in Brampton, right? So, you have in Brampton, you get Orange Khalistan, Blue Khalistan, Red Khalistan. In Mississauga, it's Orange Khalistan, Orange Muslim Brotherhood, Blue Muslim Brotherhood, Red Muslim Brotherhood.
And what's the difference between the three? I mean, what is orange?
Orange is the NDP, blue is the Conservatives, red is the Liberals. But if you get in the primaries, so I say this, elections in Canada, for prime minister, when the parties compete against each other, that's a real election. It's a first world election. It's real. Your vote matters. Okay. But when it's an internal party election, that's, I don't even want to say third world, fourth world banana republic. Okay. Below third world. It's fake. There's no laws against rigging them. You can full on rig an election to be caught on camera. There's elections. Canada doesn't have jurisdiction. So if the Conservative Party rigs an election and is caught taking bribes, they're the judge, jury, and executioner. So they go to the Conservative Party to defend the Conservative Party from the Conservative Party and then find the Conservative Party innocent. Oh my God. Who would have thought? Same with the Liberals, same with the NDP. So they learned how to infiltrate the nomination ridings where there's only a few hundred votes and someone has disqualification. So you pay the money. They can disqualify whoever they want. And if not, then they can bus in a few student buses here and there. So the Chinese, the CCP has Markham, the Khalistanis have Brampton, and parts of the Vancouver mainland, and now they're getting parts of Alberta as well. The Muslim Brotherhood has Mississauga, as well as some other neighborhoods. And they all work together and they learned how to infiltrate, interfaith, oppressor, oppressed, that critical theory, right? There's Khalistani critical theory, right? Simple. Sikhs are less than Hindus. So India is a Hindutva fascist state, and the Hindus oppress the Sikhs, right? So you do the black versus white.
Story, yeah.
You take American 1960s black versus white, and you just sub out black is now Sikh, or Khalistan, white is now Hindu. It's the same thing. I know it's not the same thing, but no academic from Harvard would know the difference between 1960s America and another country on the face of the earth at a different point in period of time. That's impossible for them to delineate.
But how seriously are being taken by the Canadians, native Canadians? Why
we don't take anything seriously. Why we don't take our own national security seriously. Why would we take your national security seriously? This is what I have to say to the Indians. Like, oh, why is Canada trying to balkanize our country? Canada is a place where the politicians will get up and say, this is stolen land from the Mi'kmaq, Iroquois. Here's a land acknowledgement. We're all settlers. We should be deported from our own thing. We're all evil. Balkanize our own country. So yeah, we don't respect our own territorial integrity. Where are we going to respect your territorial integrity?
So then was Donald Trump right in saying that, it would be better to make Canada the 53rd, kind of province?
No, I mean, that would be bad for everyone. It's also impossible. And Canada will remain independent and all that. I think he's just trolling to exacerbate our thing. But no, we do need to rediscover some sort of cohesive Canadian identity and stand on that and have some respect for our own country. Again, if we don't have any respect for our own country, we're not going to respect your country. And don't take that personally as India, because we're not hypocritical. Canada's not hypocritical on this. Okay. We're not undermining a democracy hypocritically. We're doing it because we truly believe in undermining functioning civilization nation states.
Sense. Yeah, it absolutely makes sense, because if you're not in cohesion with your own country, how do you expect somebody else to respect someone else? So self-respect is the prime thing. If you're sold your own respect, you're not going to do that. But tell me something: how big are the fault lines within this Khalistan movement in Canada in itself?
They're growing because people now see it. Right? They're running around with swords, making an ass of themselves. People now know a bit more. They know the fentanyl the narco trafficking, the Sikhs for Justice guy who did the U-turn on the highway, being connected to them. The one guy who got arrested in the biggest lab bust and fentanyl bust in human history was a Sikh Punjabi, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Right. So, I mean, and that's the other thing, the largest drug bust in the history of Canada and North America. How many people got arrested in the largest drug bust of all time? One. So, what does that tell you about what's going on in the country? It's not good. But again, there's people coming up, and I'm going to have to leave here in like 5 minutes. But that is the state of Canada currently.
Cool. So just tell me one last question. Do you see some improvement on Indo-Canadian ties, or do you see that this relationship is pretty much going to remain at the bottom of the pool?
Well, listen, there's improvement, right? But improvement is a relative term, right? So, right, it's like, again, can you improve on Justin Trudeau? Yeah, you can improve on Justin Trudeau, but better than bad doesn't mean good, right? So that's where I'll leave it. And again, so there is some thawing in the ties, but again, in the Arctic, it could be minus 40 degrees. So if it gets warmer, it's warming up this week. Does that mean you can go outside in a t-shirt and shorts?
No, you can't. You can't go do that.
Exactly.
That's pretty much a clear answer what you gave, Daniel. Thank you so much for taking out a time at a very short notice and coming to this podcast.
Oh, thanks for
having me. I'm thankful to you. Thanks, Daniel. Cheers. I hope you liked this podcast, and if you liked it, kindly share it with your friends and your family. Subscribe to the channel. Ask them to subscribe to the channel. You can contribute by becoming members, super chats, super thanks, and you can leave me and Daniel any question you would like us to answer on our Twitter. It's Daniel Broadman on Twitter, and mine is Rajamuneeb, and on YouTube as well. We'll try to get back and answer your questions. Till next time, thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.